to chat briefly about, well, we'll see how brief it is, you know me, about one of my favorite films, Kiss Me Deadly. Now, Kiss Me Deadly, if you want to get pedantic about genre, you could say that this, because it is from 1955, might be a tale, might be a touch late to be considered like prime film noir, but I don't like to get too deep in the weeds about genre and the specifics and all that sort of thing. You know, the if it quacks like a duck and all that sort of thing. This has all the traits that you need for some film noir. Based off a Mickey Spillane novel. Uh, I think it's based on a novel and not something that he just wrote. Now I'm not sure, but I assume that that's, yes, based off a Mickey Spillane novel, directed by Robert Aldrich, um, and it's got, who is it? It's Ralph Meeker, who I think I've only ever really seen show up in a handful of other things, usually playing like military guys, and he is just such a brute in this film, and I love it. And one of the things I love about this movie is it is 1955. It's maybe the early days of the end of the Hays Code. You know, but the Hays Code is still in effect. It's the mid 50s. The Hays Code is still there. I think the bricks are being pulled out and the wall is starting to crumble on it, but it doesn't crumble until the 60s. You know, so movies like this are some of the movies that I think really started to erode at that sanctimonious bunch of saccharine garbage that was the Hays Codes. And this is just a mean movie. It's a mean, brutal, tough, violent, ugly movie. And I love it. And Ralph Meeker as the hero playing Mike Hammer is definitely not heroic. You have, you have your femme fatales, but even the femme fatale is like not sexy. She's just creepy and weird. And, I mean, the closest thing to an actual like femme fatale in the movie is Mike's secretary, and she's not a fatale at all. But the women in it are strange, and the men, they get great character actors. Of course, Jack Elam is in there, and he's fantastic. I love the way that all turns out, and yeah. Anyway, but anyhow, like I said, this movie is violent. It's nasty. It's got some scenes in it that are they're kind of shocking. And honestly, if you're used to movies from the 50s, they're straight up shocking. The murder at the beginning of the movie, and I'm not giving too much away there, but there is a murder near the beginning of the movie, and it's so upsetting. And I can't believe they got away with it. And then of course there's the ending of this film, which is just on another plane. It's so wild, so shocking. I remember taking somebody to see this movie when it played at the AFI Silver, and their jaw was slack at the end of the film. And it's like, yeah, that's right. Um, anyway, this is the Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection. It has this little booklet in there. Criterion, I don't know. People have said that maybe this is the way that physical media is going to go. That it's going to be about boutique items, maybe a little more expensive, but with real work put into them. And maybe that's true. Maybe that is how it's going. As long as physical media continues to exist, that's great. I think that unfortunately that means a lot of stuff is going to fall by the wayside, and that is very sad. But I believe strongly in physical media, so, I thought I'd show this off. Now, why am I talking about Kiss Me Deadly? Why is it one of my favorite films? Now, there's a lot of reasons. I am a big fan of the film noir subgenre of film. what is film noir? There's plenty of essays and things out there. It's a lot of things. It's on the very broadest of terms. It's uh, typically it's films about crime and about the darker side of human nature. There are telltale traits, and I think that maybe Kiss Me Deadly doesn't have some of that, because Kiss Me Deadly, though directed wonderfully and with some unsettling imagery that I feel like film noir excels in, it does not have the super high contrast black and white photography that you sort of equate with the genre often. It doesn't really have that. The black and white photography in this is not super high contrast. But it does deal with the sort of seamy underbelly. It does deal with, private detectives and sketchy cops and the criminal element and, women who are dangerous and all this sort of thing. It's got a lot of that stuff in there, but it also messes with those things, which I love. Anyhow, I love it, though, for more reasons. And I thought, because I'm blathering about film noir, I would have out some of my stuff here, like this book by one of my favorite still living authors. I haven't read anything from him in a while, but still living authors, Barry Gifford, at least as far as I know he is as the time I'm recording this. One of my all-time favorite comic series, Fatal, from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This series is just aces, absolutely aces, and sort of plays into something I'm going to talk about in a moment related to Kiss Me Deadly. There's this amazing Black Sad, which plays on all the pulps and the noir stuff, but it's all with anthropomorphic Disney-type characters, but really fantastic. This maybe goes into what I'm about to talk about, the noir role-playing game. I do love my tabletop role-playing games. I also translate that into liking the pulps and the grimier side. I have some more stuff from actually one of my favorite living authors, Krista Faust. Absolutely love her stuff. These two books, you will need steel wool and a blazing hot shower to start trying to clean yourself after you read these books. They make you feel so dirty, but they're fantastic. And I don't mean dirty like in a ha 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 cute kind of way. I mean like your soul is stained, but great stuff. There's some Silverberg in here, some Ed McBain, Donald Westlake, all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah. I actually was watching somebody talk about this one recently. They did not have positive things to say about it. I'm kind of curious about it. This was, I believe, originally supposed to be a James Bond story, but things happened. Anyhow, and I've got some of my film noir DVDs and Blu-rays over here. So why did I chuckle about Fatal and Call of Cthulhu? Well, that's because this movie also serves, in my mind, as marvelous inspiration for some Call of Cthulhu. I think this has a lot of hallmarks, I would say maybe accidentally, of cosmic horror. The great what's it in this, which is your kind of classic MacGuffin. It's just the thing that people want, and all you need to know is that it is the thing that people want. But that great MacGuffin in this, or the great what's it, the MacGuffin in this, what that is, it never comes right out and says. Now, you kind of get the idea, and in here it does say Mickey Spillane's latest H-bomb, and that's kind of a little bit of a joke. It's something to do with atomic energy. It's something to do with that. But the way it is portrayed in the film, it is not made to be like paper or a simple device or some key that needs to be found. It is filmed and put on film as though it is this destructive force, this absolute monstrous destructive force. And in my mind, when I'm watching that movie, I can't help but think that is what, to me, a piece of Azathoth might be like. This blind, idiot, destructive god. And a piece of him is captured. I say him, it. A piece of it is captured and put in this box. That is how, to me, it plays. And I think that with that, I think it's a way for you to watch this and think about how you might use devices like that in your Call of Cthulhu game. And I think it would be marvelous. The oh my goodness, the end of the movie is so terrifying and so jarring. And I kind of watched that, and the first time I saw it, I thought, oh, okay, I mean, things go bad, but people get away, and they're running, and whatever. Not to spoil too much, but it's the 50s, so the good guy had to win it to a degree. But part of me wonders, does that thing that starts, does it ever stop? The movie ends, but we don't see it stop. And that is terrifying, because I kind of think maybe it never stops. And that might be the end of everything. I don't know, So anyway, here's my pitch to you. Watch the movie. It's a fantastic movie. I think sometimes TCM plays it, but if you can score a copy, that's great. I know the AFI Silver played it a few years back. I don't know how often that happens, so I don't know if repertoire theaters get it. Repertory theaters? What's the word I'm trying to find? I'll look it up, or you can let me know down below. I don't know if they normally play this film or not, is what I'm saying. So it might not be the easiest movie to see right now. I don't know. The studios are not making it easy to watch movies. That's for darn sure. But check out older movies. They can be amazing inspiration, and you wouldn't always expect them to inspire you in certain ways. And I think Kiss Me Deadly is a fantastic, if you look at it through the right angle, a fantastic Lovecraftian horror, a true cosmic horror classic. But also, it's a marvelous film noir film. Also, it's great to see that awful, awful monstrosity that was the Hays Codes begin to be knocked down with movies like this that push the boundaries and push that wall over eventually. So yeah, check out Kiss Me Deadly. It's great stuff. And it has a really early performance from Cloris Leachman. She is very off-putting in the film, but I love Cloris Leachman. Salute to you. Cloris Leachman's fantastic, so funny, so talented, such an amazing career that she had after this movie. But this is an early performance from her, as off-putting as it sort of is. So yeah, until next time, take care.